So welcome back to the channel, guys, and today's video I want to talk to you about GWS, which is Google Workspace CLI for Claude Code, and it has been an absolute game changer. So if you're new to the channel, thank you. And look, if you come across me for the first time, I'm James and I'm a former tech recruiter for about 8 years, turned AI app builders. And now all I'm doing on this channel is basically sharing my journey along the way of learning about AI, how to build AI apps with Claude Code, and also turn those into a business. So anyway, for that being said, I want to share with you about GWS, so Google Workspace. And as you can see here is the GitHub. Now, so before we get into it, I just want to show you a quick example of how this has worked in my workflow. So if you look here, as you can see, this documentation or presentation was all completed by using Claude Code. I didn't write any of this, and the GWS CLI. And this was based off basically this is my YouTube prep research that I do, and every time I'm going to come to create YouTube videos, I do this, and it puts it into this format. In fact, if I go to another file here, so I'm also revamping my skills community, revamping my school community, and all this here, because I've created a load of skills, I wanted it to take the context and put it into the info that I want to put into the actual section of the school stuff. And so you can see here, I haven't written a word of this, and this was all based off all the context I had, and it created all this on how to install and all this side of things here, thanks to that CLI command, which has saved me so much time. Here's another example. As you can see here, this is another presentation of a YouTube video. In fact, if you go on my recent video, the Claude skills, this was exactly the presentation. Well, this was actually, the format gave me a bit of an example that I wanted to speak about. So I could, when I was recording, I could use this. Again, this was all thanks to the CLI GWS command. And then finally, as well, we've got another, it's a little bit zoomed out at the moment, we've got another kind of pipeline of stuff here of leads where I've managed to go and find all these different leads with names and numbers, and it's given me all the information all automatically done into a Google Drive or Google Sheets file, shall I say. I didn't have to do any of this. And so today I just want to walk through how to install it, why it is a massive benefit to you, especially if you're using Claude Code, to install this into your operating system or your business, because it will save you so much time. So previously you could connect your Google Drive folder on the Claude AI desktop app, but when it came to actually using it in VS Code or your IDE, for example, it had a lot of trouble. And in fact, I don't think it was possible from my knowledge, okay? However, now, doing it via the CLI, not only does it just save so much more time. So I want to break down to, in fact, if I show you my calendar as well, you can see here that all this in here, none of this was me. So I run a morning coffee skill each morning, and we have an operating system. And if I just show you here with this here, you can see in my brain too here that I've got here. So running the morning coffee, Oh, sorry, I got the terminal up there. Running the morning coffee skill here. This runs a morning coffee, and I have a system that kind of goes through, and we talk about what's going to be day ahead and what evening plan, kind of week ahead on a weekly thing as well. And by doing all that, I can plan out my whole week. So, and then again, this was all done via the Google CLI. I didn't have to write any of this, which is such a, if you ever created your own calendar or try to remove stuff, it's such a long process to do. But now with the Google CLS and the way I've clicked it, now with the Google CLI, I should say, and connected it in with Claude Code, I can plan out my week like this very, very quickly, which is just awesome. And as I said, the old way of doing things, and as I mentioned, the old way of doing things is you could connect it through here, but there was limitations in terms of what actually you could connect to your Google Drive. But now, thanks to the CLI command, you literally have one install and it gives you full Google Workspace assets across your Gmail, across your docs. So in fact, even with a Gmail one I've done recently, I wanted to go and find a lot of newsletters that come in my space about AI. I put in the subject line I want, and I was like, right, go and find me all the AI related stuff from this so that I can actually use that for information for me. So which is awesome, which again wasn't as possible before. Now you've got the Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Slides, everything, which is just amazing. Okay, now you've got a bit of an understanding why it's so crucial. Of course, we've got to set it up. So first things first, it's very, very easy to install, and we'll go through that in a second. But the first things first, you want to get the GitHub link. Obviously put that into and you are going to have to set some stuff up in your Google Cloud console, but I will go through that as well. And you also want to install this into your Claude Code as well. So depending on your IDE you use. So let's get into that now. So first thing I want to do is we're going to go down to this here, and you can see, so it's the Google Workspace CLI here. If you just type in Google Workspace CLI on Google, I think it's the second one down. So this is the GitHub link here. and you just want to copy this here, okay? Then you want to go over to your IDE. So in my case, I'm using VS Code for this. Okay, so I'm going to get Claude to do this to me. So let's typing that in. So nmp install Google CLI. So I'm just going to type that in, press enter, and just going to let it do its thing at the moment. So this is it. Although I've got it running in my James Brain 2, obviously I'm just going to quickly show you how to do this from scratch from here. And let's get this set up as we speak whilst it's doing this. So it's been installed globally, which I have it globally on that, so it may already work. So let's just go on. So let's just do this. How do I set up? Oh, sorry, I did that. What do I need to do? Should have used my Whisper Flow tool there, but that's okay. Let's get that set up. So because I've already probably got set, that's why it's saying it's already set up globally, but let's just double check. It's going to give you, but if you're not sure, just go with Claude and ask it what to do, get the help. I'll give you the instructions. Okay, so here we go. So here's what you need to do as a new user. Okay, so first things first, if you have Google Cloud installed and authenticated, so let's just go there. But if not, you may, if you don't have Google Cloud, you probably, so let's say we've got to go on the, if you don't have Google Cloud, you need to go up to this. So let's just go onto this link here for a second. So you see what else you need to enable APIs. So for this purposes, I'm just going to start a new, let's just create a new project, for example, and I'm just going to call it James Test Project. Let's just create that for a second. Let that do what it's doing. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to go over, let's just double confirm. We want to go to APIs. So pretty sure, where is it? Let's just go back. Enable APIs, you want Drive. So let's go to API level. So let's go to enable APIs and go to enable APIs. And then we want to go this button here. We want to search for APIs here. And then we're going to click enable the APIs we want. So we want Gmail? Yeah, we do. So let's just make sure that's enabled. Enable this, let that do its thing very quickly. There we go. Let's say we want, okay, now let's say we want the drive, or actually see if it does a Sheets. I can't remember if it comes up individually. Yeah, it's a Google Sheets API. Let's just enable this, for example, for now. And then let's just do, I won't do my calendar because I've already got my calendar on the other one. But as you can see, and then you can just go, if you want other ones here, obviously you've got calendar. So if you go there, I can't remember how to. So you've got the Google Calendar here. So because enable that, already done that. And if you wanted, for example, Drive, let's just see what else we've got here. Google Drive. So you can obviously enable all these, okay, which is great. Okay, so now let's go back. So we've got the one, we're going to keep the ones we've got enabled at the moment. Now you need to go back to create credentials. So what we need to do now is go back to API services, and we'll just click on this for a second, even though it's there, and we want to go back to credentials. And again, it'll literally tell you step by step. If you're never sure, so it was telling me to create a desktop app. So I want to create a credentials here. And it's saying I want a desktop app, set up the credentials. So I believe it's this one here. Let me just double check. It might be, actually, let me just create, might be the OAuth client. I can't remember. I always get confused when I start come around to Google, if I'm honest. Let me just go create credentials, test account. No, I don't think it's that, actually. Hang on a minute. Okay, is it the API or is it the OAuth? Okay, so we want to go to API, we want to go to consent screen, and then we want to go to, sorry, not that. So we want to go to API services, and we want to go to credentials. And then from credentials, we want to create credentials and then go to OAuth client. And then we want to go to a desktop app. So you can see here, it's got credentials, create credentials, OAuth desktop app. And then we'll just type it as testing James. Okay. Then you're going to get a JSON file. Okay. So we want to download this JSON file. Okay. So you're going to have that there. Okay. So now I've got the downloaded JSON file. Where would you want it? Do you want me to bring it in here, or do you want me to, what would you like me to do now? Right, so I'm going to, for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to go to my file. I'm just going to create my desktop. I'm just going to create a new folder, YouTube test, for example. Let's just save it there for now. We're going to go download. We're going to go desktop, YouTube test. Cool. All right. Okay, so I've saved it on desktop under YouTube test. It's in there. What do you need me to do? Do you need me to do anything else for now? So again, if you're never just sure, just let Google Cloud, so just let Claude Code do it, like tell you what to do. Okay, so it's saying it's not working. So let's just double check it's in there. It's picked up the wrong folder. Okay, that's fine. So the folder name is called YouTube Test. It's on the desktop. So now it's found it. It's going to move it to the proper config location, set it up. So now it's telling me to, can I do this? Let me try it in this. Actually, let me try it in here first. We might have to do this in a separate terminal. Just give me a second. So let me just try this. Might need to do it in a separate terminal here, which is fine if it does need to be. Let's just wait to see what it does. It'll tell me if I need to do it in a separate terminal. It'll tell me. How are we going? I'm going to just start this in a separate terminal for a second. Let's see if it does it. Okay, so let's, in fact, I'm going to do it. Let's just deny that for a second. Now it's telling me, okay, so we've got this terminal over here. Select OAuth. Okay, so we want, that's fine. Open this in your URL browser. Okay, now you can see, so it's already doing it in there. It's already authenticated, but we'll just show it in the terminal as well. So it's pretty straightforward. Now that's going to open up here. I'm just going to give it, obviously that's what it's told, it'll come up with this. Okay, now this is great because I didn't give it the email address. So let's go back, and that goes back to that external thing. So if I go back to Google Drive for a second, and the reason being is I didn't set up a test account. So I need to go back and actually set up someone for testing. Okay, so this is the error. Okay, so I tried to log in through the terminal, but this is the error I get. Do I need to set up invite someone on email for the testing because it's external? So even though this is saying it's fully authenticated, yes. So for example, if you fall into this situation, which is great. So if we go to Google Cloud Console again, let's just open it up. Select your project, which we know is the one. We need to go to OAuth consent screen. So let's go back to the OAuth consent screen, for example, and then we just got to invite myself. And then we want to go to API consent screen under test users. So where is the test users? Let's just find audience. I think it's under audience. Yeah, there we go. We want to add test users. So if I go now here, so I'm just going to add my email, for example, and I just go to that, save it. Now, if I try that again, just save that one there. Okay, now that's saved. So I'm just going to come off that for a second. Now let's go back to VS Code for a second. Let's reopen that link. Let's go back onto James Wild. Okay, it's still not working. Let's try again. So let's just go back, make sure it's there. Okay, so it's still there, as you can see. So I'm just going to go back, make sure it's done that. Let's just go back on the link again. One more time. Let's just try it. Okay. It's still saying I'm blocked. I've added jameswild1990@gmail.com. Why am I still getting blocked? So we're going to close that terminal for stop, and then we're going to start a new terminal. Let's just try again. So maybe I'm on the wrong project here. This might be, no, I'm on test project. So it's definitely on test project. I've got the user. I'm just going to add my other address at the moment, mwild.com. Let's just add that as well. So you can have up to 100 users, but again, if you're only you, it shouldn't be a problem. So let's just go on here for a second. Okay, now we're going to open this. Let's just open this again. Let's try this email address this time. I've just got to add my password in. Now you can see, okay, this is great. Now you can see everything it's got access to. So now I may close this window. So if I now go back, you can see that I'm a success. Okay, so you connected, which Google account are you connected to? JamesWild1990 or james@jamesmwild.com? I've just added both of them as test users. Okay, so in that, can you now just create me a new document just called in YouTube test and just tell me all the install instructions that we needed for this. So now, as you can see, what it's going to go and do is, if I get rid of that, it's going to proceed with that and tell me. And of course, you can do this in the GUI kind of version as well. I'm wondering actually, because I've got my other one connected, that's why it might not work. So let me just double check here. But this is great. I mean, this is in real time. Okay. So there we go. The file name got renamed during set. Let's use the correct path. So now it's going to go and figure itself up. So the doc's been created. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive document in a minute. Let that do its thing. Now I haven't turned on bypass permissions. I probably should have done bypass permissions for this. And again, you can use it in the UI version here with that as well. So it's fine. Okay. So now we're going to my documentation. So it's got done, YouTube test is done in the Google Drive, all the install instructions. It's under my James Wild. So let me go and have a quick look now and I'll come back. So as you can see, it's got YouTube test, Google Workspace, install instructions all in here. None of that I have to do. So once you get that started, it is an absolute, just a game changer for you to use. So what I would highly recommend if you're not using this is to go and install this, because it will save you so much time when it comes to filling in sheets, your calendar, also you're filling in it'll save you so much time to fill in sheets, your calendar, even your Gmail and anything like that. It's such a lifesaver, well, such a time saver to create all amount that information in such a short space of time. Especially, for example, if you're looking for leads for your business and getting information on that as well, or for your Google Calendar, planning your week. And so I highly recommend going into this website, just look for this username here on the GitHub and then using that. And as you see, look, the install is pretty straightforward. Yes, there's a couple of things. You might have to be back and forth, but if you just go with Claude Code to actually help you work through it, it's pretty straightforward to set up. But with that being said, look, I'll leave the video on this time. If you are looking to install Claude Code into your business or looking to basically understand and leverage how to use Claude Code for yourself, whether that's your business or your apps, I do have a school community that you can join. Where there's a variety of information from skills and also building apps. Also, there's a free resource below. And if you haven't yet subscribed and got value out of this video, again, I'm very new to this YouTube stuff, so still just growing this and getting comfortable with this. So if you did get value out of this, I really would appreciate a subscribe. And I look forward to sharing with more of you about my own learnings and seeing more about yours as well in the near future.